In a recent interview promoting her new film, Civil War, from A24, currently running in theaters, actress Kirsten Dunst lamented the fact that some 20 years ago, there was a pay gap between herself and Tobey Maguire in, of all things, Spider-Man from Sony Pictures. It's a classic case of your truth versus the truth. Let's talk about it. Online. So this was from a couple of weeks ago, actually, and I missed it, but I thought this was fascinating. Kirsten Dunst says the major pay disparity between her and Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man was so normal she didn't think to challenge it.
I missed the part where she got in a costume and had to leap from building to building and be strung up on a string for hours on end while kissing her upside down in the rain, probably with rain going up his nose.
I also missed the part where she had to train for months and months and months and eat like next to nothing to get jacked.
Exactly.
You know?
Wasn't she in the film like 11% of the time?
Yeah.
Not only
I missed the part where anyone cared about her character. No, it's called Spider-Man.
Okay, that's it. I mean, that's.
Let's ask Julia Roberts how much she made in the movies she's in compared to her male counterparts and see the difference. Let's do an experiment. How about Sandra Bullock? Let's see what the difference is between her and her male counterparts and her starring roles. This is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life.
No, it is. And I don't know if y'all saw this because I didn't recall seeing too many people talking about this. And I just thought this was fascinating with everything else that was going on. But let me just read from this. This was actually an interview that she did, a video interview. I don't know if the link is clipped to this BI article, but it's Kirsten Dunst said the major pay disparity between herself and Tobey Maguire at the start of her career felt so normal that she didn't think to challenge it, even though they're saying she was more successful at the box office. The actor has worked in Hollywood since she was 7, but rose to fame playing Claudia, a child vampire in Interview with a Vampire, 1994. But she's better known, and she brought this up in the interview. I was in Bring It On, she says, but I didn't get the kind of pay Tobey did when I turned around 2 years later and did Spider-Man. Okay.
What was the budget for Bring It On?
Exactly. Bring It On was an extremely successful comedy. I looked it up the other day. It did about $95 million globally, which back in 2000, that was awesome. $95 million for a simple teenager high school comedy was great. It did really well. Spider-Man, which I don't believe was called Spider-Man and Mary Jane, but it was called Spider-Man, did about $900 million 2 years later.
So 100 times the amount.
Well, about 10 times. Yeah.
Bring It On.
I suck.
They had a budget of 11 million, apparently.
I was going to say, I thought it was about 10.
And I'm sure Spider-Man had a close to 90 million, so there you go. It's all around the board, 10% difference. There you go.
Yeah. Speaking ahead of the release
10, not 10%.
Yeah, her latest movie, of course, she was recently in Civil War. Dunst described how she viewed gender dynamics in her youth. We grew up in a world where it's mankind, man-made, man this, man that. That's how we grew up. Hopefully, the way I carved my path will help other actresses. Dunst went on to speak about the gender pay gap in Hollywood and, without naming him, appeared to compare her salary with that of her Spider-Man co-star, Tobey Maguire. Quote, I definitely grew up in a time with a major pay disparity between the lead actor and myself. The lead actor and myself, right? So she wasn't just putting that. She realizes that Tobey was the lead, even though I had been in Bring It On. And he hadn't. Oh, he hadn't been in Bring It On. So if he had guest starred in Bring It On, this would have been a different conversation. Or the more I had more success in my box office than he did.
You weren't the lead.
You weren't the lead.
You don't understand how this works.
Shut up. Though this is so stupid because when I went to Hollywood, the only people who were telling me that I was ever going to have a problem were other women. Women were like, you got to get on your knees. You got to do this. It's your... Just shut up, all right? That was just Hollywood at the time. Just shut the fuck up. Move on. How are you not over this? Is that how sad your life is? You're still talking about high school now? Have you done nothing since?
I'm surprised she didn't bring up the Interview with a Vampire while she was at it, too.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
And let's not forget. I mean,
completely forgetting that he was in like Pleasantville and stuff.
Yes, I was about to say, you know, this was not Tobey Maguire's first ride.
Right.
He was out there, and he was, you know, brought in to play Spider-Man. He did it for 3 movies. I'm sure he had a contract with Sony
He
that
won it
optioned
out
him
over
for a
like
second.
Jake Gyllenhaal and a few other competitors too. It wasn't like he just, you know, he was given the role.
Yeah, and he was going to be the face. Remember, he was about to be the face of the single, by far and away, most financially successful, powerful piece of product that Marvel had. Remember, Marvel licensed Spider-Man out to Sony to make these films. Back in the day, this was 10 years before Marvel sold out to Disney. And they licensed that to Sony, who still has it, by the way, for peanuts, basically, because Marvel was in such dire straits. Sony knew what they had, and they realized this kid is going to be the face of the most popular, best-selling merchandise, toy-wise, T-shirts, sleeping bags of all time for a superhero. So, I mean, he's going to wind up getting paid. Every time Tobey's face was on a little doll or something like that, I'm sure there was some level of compensation or somewhere.
You all are missing out. You guys are missing out on the redemption arc. Miss Dunst she's won. She was in Civil War. It's going to make probably $60 million at the box office total. That's the
she
win.
Was in that?
That's the win.
That's good.
Not the Marvel one,
good
the new
for
one.
You. Good for you. You really showed your worth in what you sign up for. You're so selective in the work that you do to make sure only the best thing comes forward. Maybe if you spent more time focusing on yourself and making yourself the best that you could be, you could have Tobey Maguire money, but you don't. So sit down and shut up. Oh
I think she should be asking herself more so why did she not get much work after Spider-Man? I think that's what she should be asking herself while looking in the mirror. Why? Because you were probably the weakest link in that film, honey. I'm going to tell you that. You were the worst Mary Jane. I'll say it.
Well, it may have also been this attitude where if she went out after this and said, I want more money, and studios were like, well, we've got 10 other actresses of your same stature.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
$100 says she's mad they didn't invite her for No Way Home. That's what this is about. That's why she's embittered.
You know what, Pro?
She wanted that money.
Also, sometimes it's not about box office. Like, sure, Bring It On made more money, but I mean, honestly, how can you compare a, film about cheerleading if you're thinking about an actor to something that is critically acclaimed like the Cider House Rules? Like, Tobey had before Spider-Man done pretty much like independent films, Wonder Boys, Cider House Rules, things like that. So I think that you could say he's a better actor, and maybe they saw that and they paid him for that.
And that was what I was trying to say, is he had a bang, bang, bang there. Sure, those movies didn't make buco box office, but guess what? They were all Oscar-nominated films.
There's only 2 million less or so than Bring It On.
I think for Cider House, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's right here. In contrast, see here, 2000 Dunst, right Bring It On. In contrast, Tobey Maguire's highest-grossing movie with him in the lead at the time, before Spider-Man, of course, was 1 year before that they went into all this with Cider Roll Holes. Yeah, $88 million. So
and it probably made more money because I bet you the budget on that was half of what Bring It On was too.
It may, Cider House Rules was probably 10 million.
Just small,
or less.
little independent picture. Yeah, it's about a orphanage, if I remember right, with what's his face, Michael Caine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Michael Caine.
Yep. So, but I mean, there you go. I mean, it's kind of that attitude that it's like, okay, well, look, I mean, guys still drive box office by and large. It's men that go see these big budget movies. And when they make these big budget movies that they're spending nowadays $200-300 million for, they've experimented with making these things, with these female leads in female superhero movies, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work not because the guys don't show up. The women don't show up. Look at the Marvels. Look at a lot of these things. The women just don't care, and that's okay because we all have different tastes in things. But it's like run at your own peril if you're going to spend $200-300 million to make some of these properties.
In Valiant, I made the opposite
point
point
there too. Don't show up for men either these days. A lot of times,
like I said, let's go compare what every co-star made in a Sandra Bullock or a Julia Roberts or any of those leading ladies. I guarantee you, none of those guys made nearly as much as they were. Like Benjamin Bratt, he's in a lot of Sandra Bullock films. I guarantee you he makes a third, if not less than what Sandra Bullock makes each one of those movies.
Oh, like in Miss
Right? Do you hear him complaining?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I got a feeling Reese Witherspoon made the most money off Legally Blonde. I just got a feeling.
Yeah. I bet you Kate Hudson even probably made more than Matthew McConaughey in their little movie they made together too. The Ways to Lose a Woman or whatever it was.
Bullshit.
Wild Witch in the chat has a good point. She says, I'm a woman and I want my beefcake. So I remember, like we were talking about who spends money. Men spend money on franchises they like. They want to see superheroes, etc. But women spend money on, they get crushes on things. So like that's why boy bands are so huge. That's why K-pop is so huge. I mean, I was obsessed with Tobey Maguire because I thought he was cute and I watched Spider-Man like 15 times in theater. So to me, it's like I don't see women being like, oh, I love Kirsten Dunst. Let me go watch Spider-Man 10 times because of her. Unfortunately, that's how women, at least teenage women when I was a teenager, or a young lady, spend money or get into things and purchase, whether it's products or music or, tickets to things because they are attracted to men and like to watch that. So
who was cuter, Peter Parker or Legolas?
Legolas, for sure.
I knew it, those ears. I knew it.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.